We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. We're moving to the next stage of the pandemic, and as the world resets to the new normal, we find ourselves seeking the right balance between health and livelihood, constantly adjusting the boundaries between liberty and responsibility. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. First, the coronavirus pandemic is not even closer to being over. The World Health Organization warned as the global death toll passed 500,000 and cases surged in Latin America and the U.S. Let's listen in.
Joining us 6 months ago, none of us could have imagined how our world and our lives would be thrown into turmoil by this new virus. The pandemic has brought out the best and the worst of humanity. We all want this to be over. We all want to get on with our lives. But the hard reality is, this is not even close to being over. Although many countries have made some progress globally, the pandemic is actually speeding up. The critical question that all countries will face in the coming months is how to live with this virus. That is the new normal. Many countries have implemented unprecedented measures to suppress transmission and save lives. These measures have been successful in slowing the spread of the virus, but they have not completely stopped it. Some countries are now experiencing a resurgence of cases as they start to reopen their economies and societies. Time after time and country after country, what we have seen is this virus can be suppressed if the governments are serious about the things they have to do, their share, and if the community can do its share. So while doing our best to find a vaccine, which is the right thing to do, our advice from WHO is we should do everything we can using the tools we have at hand. And with 10 million cases now and 500,000 deaths, unless we address the problems we have already identified as WHO, the lack of national unity and lack of global solidarity, and the divided world which is actually helping the virus to spread. As I said in my speech, the worst is yet to come.
What you have to do is push the disease down to the lowest possible level. And communities have made a huge sacrifice for that to happen. They've stayed at home, they've stayed away from their families, they've contributed tremendously to suppressing infection. And what public health authorities have needed to do is to put in place the right public health surveillance in order to take advantage of that. So as the restrictions are lifted and as we see small clusters appear, the public health authorities can react quickly.
It can be increasingly difficult to apply this comprehensive approach as transmission increases, but it's not one activity alone. It is not contact tracing alone. It is not case finding alone. It is not physical distancing alone. You've heard the Director General, you've heard us say this all the time, but it's worth repeating because there tends to be a focus on a particular intervention, but it needs to be all of the above.
More than 180 Filipinos stranded due to the pandemic were repatriated from Thailand. Ian Celada reports.
สวัสดีครับ 183 Filipinos in Phuket and neighboring provinces in Thailand joined a repatriation flight organized by the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok in partnership and with the assistance of the Filipino communities in Phuket. Filipinos in Phuket who joined this flight are those affected by closures of hotels due to restrictions imposed by Thai government to fight the spread of COVID-19. Although domestic tourism has restarted, most hotels are still closed due to foreigners are still not allowed to enter Thailand.
Magandang araw po mga kababayan. Ako po si Consul General Val Roque ng Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, Thailand. Ako'y nandito ngayon sa Phuket para sa ating fourth flight from Thailand to the Philippines para sa ating mga kababayang apektado ng COVID-19 pandemic. Ang Phuket po ay roughly 900 kilometers away from Bangkok. So yun yung isang challenge, no? Tapos it's a 13-hour ride, no? And because flights are not yet normal, no? We traveled by land. The embassy team traveled by land to Phuket to make sure that we're here on time, no? We're here to be of service to our repatriates, our Filipinos in Phuket who have been waiting for so long for a flight back home. Nauna na po kasi ang the first three flights, nauna po ay ang Bangkok, no? Merong iilan from Phuket who were on those flights, but the great majority of Filipinos in Phuket were under lockdown for 2 months here. And so they missed the opportunity to go home for the first three flights. That's 2 government repatriation flights and a flight chartered by a Filipino-Thai company back home that we helped facilitate. So the situation is that for the next month, wala pa rin pong international flights out of Thailand, no? Merong iilan siguro, but only repatriation flights are viable at the moment. That's why the Philippine government's repatriation program, as our beloved Secretary of Foreign Affairs Theodore Locsin Jr. says, continues to be in service for our stranded kababayans abroad. Not just in Thailand, of course, but also in other countries. So, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa ating Filipino community here in Thailand because they are the ones who actually, kept following up for this flight to happen, this special flight for our Filipinos in Phuket to happen. Alam niyo po, many here in Phuket, the Filipinos here work as employees in hotels and resorts, and we all know that all around the world, the tourism sector has been really adversely affected by the pandemic, and such is the same situation here. So we have, the loss of jobs of our kababayans, and that's why, even if there are flights, very, very few flights available out of Thailand via the Middle East or via Seoul, ang mahal-mahal po. So this is their only, hope really to be able to go home. So we have realized that hope today. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we can continue serving our kababayans with flights, with repatriation flights. Of course, that is only possible with the partnership of our Philippine government agencies back home, as well as the Filipino communities in the different provinces here in Thailand. So maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
For expectations sa Philippines, sabi nga nila may quarantine tayo, so dapat follow the rules na lang tayo kung ano yung may bibigay nating tulong sa isa't isa. Kaya yun na yung sundin ang bawat rules nila upang maging okay tayo. And sa transportations, so I'm expecting na sana magkaroon din sila ng free. If there's no free transportation, sana ay may tutulong pa rin sa amin. Kahit may bayad siya, basta may transport na kami sa aming mga probinsya.
All passengers receive an email stating do's and don'ts once they arrive at Ninoy Aquino International Airport. This repatriation flight might be the end of their journey here in Thailand, but definitely will give hope and restart a new normal life together with their families. Reporting from Phuket, Thailand, this is Ian Silada, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Ian. Meanwhile, Vietnam said Cambodia has no documents to ban its fruits and vegetables coming in. Princess Sienna reports from our EBC Cambodia Bureau. Hello, Princess. Okay, Princess, I think you have to unmute your audio.
I'm sorry.
There you go. Okay, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
So here are the latest from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. The Cambodian government and management agencies have yet to issue any official documents banning the import of Vietnamese vegetables and fruits, according to the Asia-Africa Market Department under the Vietnamese Ministry of Industry and Trade, or MOIT. Earlier, the MOIT asked the Vietnamese Commercial Affairs Office in Cambodia to make a fact-finding trip to the Tri-Tom border gate in Cambodia's Kandal province. The office reported that Cambodian authorities on June 16 checked 22 types of vegetables and fruits imported from Vietnam through the Tri-Tom border gate and found pesticide residues that exceeded the permissible quantity in 6 Vietnamese agricultural products, comprising cabbages, broccoli, okra, pumpkins, limes, and chives. Cambodian authorities then destroyed the above-said vegetables and so far have yet to provide specific information about the names of the pesticides whose residues were found on these vegetables. However, the MOIT recommended that Vietnamese authorities and localities further guide farmers how to use pesticides in line with regulations while cultivating. It is also suggested intensifying inspections to ensure the vegetables and fruits sold in the domestic market and exported are safe for consumers, thus avoiding similar incidents in the time ahead. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much for your update there in Cambodia. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Alma. Mrs. Sinyaji Kalamanan, live reporting from Phnom Penh, Cambodia. We live in interesting times.
All right. Bangladesh will unveil a COVID-19 antibody test kit guidelines. Joining us live from Bangladesh is Arabel Pasqua. Hello, Arabel.
Hello, Alma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Here are the latest updates in Bangladesh. The government has finalized guidelines for the use of COVID-19 antibody test kits. Antibody test kits cannot be used to diagnose the disease, and they will instead be used to find more accurate information on the spread of the virus, as well as to find donors for plasma therapy, according to the guidelines. The Health Ministry is in the process of testing and approving antibody test kits, after which the Directorate General of Drug Administration will allow import and manufacturing. The guideline said antibody test kits would need the following label, quoting, "This is not a diagnostic kit. This kit will be used only for detecting antibodies, not in the acute stage." The guidelines also said that antibody tests can be used for zero-surveillance, convalescent plasma therapy, and for research purposes. Furthermore, they said all antibody tests, including rapid antibody tests, should only be conducted in laboratories in order to prevent misuse. For the import and production of antibody test kits, the guidelines said a no objection certificate, emergency use authorization, and registration application need to be filed with the DGDA. The NOC will be provided after the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Directorate General of Health Services gives their approval. Initially, emergency use authorization will be provided for a few days. In addition to that, Alma, COVID-19 tests at government facilities will no longer be free, as the government has approved a health ministry proposal to impose fees on the tests. The health directorate said that patients will now have to pay 200 taka if they visit the kiosk to give samples or if they are hospitalized, while home sample collections will be 500 taka per test. And private facilities will remain with their fixed charge with 3,500 taka. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has registered 4,014 new cases of the novel coronavirus infection, the most in a daily count, bringing the tally to 141,801. The death toll from COVID-19 surged to 1,783, while 57,780 infected patients recovered at home and in hospital care, according to the DGHS. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Arabelle, for your updates there. Thank you, EBC Bangladesh Bureau. Arabelle?
Thank you very much, Alma. Reporting live from Bangladesh, I am Arabelle Pasqua. We live in interesting times.
Now, Vietnam's most critically ill COVID-19 patient, a British pilot, can now fly home next month. We have an update coming in from Ralph Wandolph Empire. All right, South Korea, although its hands are full in containing the coronavirus disease, has provided over $5 million worth of humanitarian assistance to the Philippines to help contain the deadly disease. In a recent interview, Korean Ambassador Han Dong-man said the humanitarian aid is in the form of COVID-19 testing kits, high-quality masks, tons of rice, 1,000 face shields, diagnostic kits, personal protective equipment or PPE, and protective face masks for Filipino veterans of the Korean War and their families, among others. Han said that South Korea will never forget the benevolence of the Philippines in helping his country defend freedom and democracy during the Korean War. As a gesture of magnanimity, he said South Korea has been extending assistance to the Philippines the past 7 decades during disasters, man-made or otherwise. The Philippines is Korea's long-standing ally over the past 70 years. Since the outbreak of the Korean War in 1950, Koreans have never forgotten the 7,420 Filipino soldiers who were dispatched as the Philippine Expeditionary Forces to Korea as part of the UN forces to fight for the freedom of Korea during the Korean War. Among the humanitarian aid is the $1.5 million from the Korean International Cooperation Agency, or KOICA, development program to support the Philippine government to combat COVID-19. And this includes testing kits worth $500,000 that can yield 35,000 tests. At the same time, KOICA also shaped its post-COVID-19 program, which focuses on building the resilience of the vulnerable groups in urban and rural areas, strengthening the health system, and stimulating digital partnerships to support the new normal. ASEAN in Focus will be right back.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. It up, you came to get it drunk with a dame, I should have drunk you back when I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Viet-approved Nutrichans, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichans. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Food Standard Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco, R Square Vargos Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, IMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. Had the Philippine government not acted as it did at the start of the first reported local transmissions of the COVID-19, there would have been more cases and deaths than what we have now, according to Malacanang. In his press briefing with the Malacanang Press Corps, Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque Jr. said that though the government's response may not be perfect, President Duterte did the very best that he can and we are in control of the situation, unquote. Let's listen in.
244. Alam niyo po, isa lang ang mensahe ni Presidente. Itigil ang politika sa panahon ng COVID-19. Pero hindi po tumitigil ang binabato nila sa atin. Kinakailangan naman po sagutin. May kakulangan daw, may kulang daw. Tinanong, anong kulang? Bibigay namin sa iyo. Wala naman pong tinatanong. Walang binibigay kung ano daw yung mga kakulangan. Pero sagutin po natin, tama ba ang mga hakbang na ginawa ng ating gobyerno? Ang sagot po namin, opo. Hindi po tayo perpekto. Siguro po talaga, we could have done better. Pero narito na po tayo, and one thing I can assure you, the President did the very best that he can, and we are in control of the situation. Bakit ko po nasabi yan? Tignan niyo po itong graph na ginawa po ng UP. Ang UP naman po pinagtitiwalaan natin dahil sinasabi nga nila yung kanilang mga mathematical model nagkakatotoo. Pero ano yung kanilang ginawang kauna-unahang graph? Ilan dapat ang nagkaroon na ng sakit ng COVID-19 kung hindi po gumawa ng mga hakbang ang gobyerno ng ating presidente? Ang sabi po ng UP, kung wala po tayong lockdown na ginawa, ngayon po, meron na tayo sanang 3.6 million cases ng COVID. 3.6 million. San po nagkulang ang presidente? Ano pa po ang dapat ginawa niya? Naiwasan po ang 3.6 million cases ng COVID. Tingnan naman po natin yung tinatawag na positivity rate. Ito uli po yung mga numero ng mga tao sa lahat po ng mga na-test natin. Nagsimula po tayo, mataas po yan, 13% sa lahat ng 100 na tinatest natin ay positibo sa COVID. Ngayon po, makikita natin, bumaba na po tayo sa mahigit kumulang 6 sa bawat 100. Pero tingnan nyo naman po na napakalaki na lang itinaas ng ating mga na-testing. 2.5 po na nagsimula tayo noon. Ito po yung mga daily rates. Daily po ito, no? Daily test na ginagawa. Dati 2.5 tayo noong Abril. Ngayon po nasa 15,000 na tayo per day of tests. Ang ating positivity, mga around 6%. Ano pa pong indicators? Well, ito po. Ilang bahong namamatay? Tumataas po ang numero na nagkakasakit. Ang tanong, tumataas din ba ang numero ng mga namamatay? Tignan niyo po itong graph nito. Malinaw naman po na consistent ang pagbaba ng mga taong namamatay bagamat tumataas ang kaso ng COVID-19. Now, ang sabi ng WHO, tayo daw ang pinakamabilis na tumaas na kaso sa buong Western Pacific region. Totoo ba ho ito? We beg to disagree. Siyempre po, kung titignan natin yung pagtaas ng kaso, dapat yan in relation to your population. Bakit tayo ikukumpira sa Singapore? Yung Singapore, 5 milyon lang po yan. Isang syudad lang po yan. Hindi pa syudad ng Quezon City o Manila. Pero kung i-divide nyo yung kaso sa per million population, ito po ang lalabas. So kung i-divide nyo po ang kaso per million population, malinaw po, hindi po magsisinungaling ang datos. Hindi po tayo ang pinakamabilis na dumami ng kaso sa Western Pacific region. Hahayaan na po namin ang datos sumagot dun sa report ng WHO.
People from Myanmar's conflict-ridden Rakhine flee to the state capital of Sittwe after warnings of military clearance operations, as the United Nations called to spare civilians amid the intensifying fighting between the army and insurgents. Let's take a look. Meanwhile, Rohingya asylum seekers who were rescued off the coast of Indonesia spoke about their ordeal during a month-long sea journey. Around 1 million Rohingya live in squalid refugee camps in Bangladesh, where human traffickers also run lucrative operations, promising to find them sanctuary abroad. Take a look.
So, I তাঁদের তাঁদের তখন মানুষের মুখে মারি ধরি নিজে আরা তো মধ্যে আর নিজে মাথা ফাড়ি দিয়ে খানা ফাড়ি দিয়ে এবং আরা সেবার দিনক্ষণ এসেছিলাম আর না এসেছিলাম কিছু বাড়ি খাইয়ে খাইয়ে দিয়ে মানে জল এর মাঝে দেখি তারপর আর না খাই নদীর বাসা এসেছিলাম বাচ্চা আন্দোলন করে আর
kita ada beras, ada masa saja mau tu beras saja ada makan, sama ada kecang-kecang itu saja makan. Kalau minum air kita punya kain itu basah di laut, lepas tu dia pusing-pusing air itu saja minum. Kadang ada hujan punya air itu minum.
In other news, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno highlighted the need for reforms in the country's information and communication technology infrastructure to help in the government's post-COVID-19 programs. In a speech during the Manila Times online forum, Diokno said improving the country's ICT infrastructure system and processes will play a pivotal role in reshaping the means of production and the delivery of goods and services in the post-COVID world. He also said digital technology will also be critical in enabling simpler and more efficient transactions with government agencies and other processes like online retail, online banking, online medical consultations, and digital payments. All these, he said, need to be supported by a safe and reliable digital infrastructure system with robust and dependable cybersecurity protection. Diokno also said reform in the country's ICT infrastructure sector is just one of many structural reforms that need greater attention. The others include the modernization of the health system to ensure efficient public health infrastructure and resilient crisis preparedness program, the modernization of the agriculture and government supply chain management system, and the development of a highly skilled and resilient workforce. He also said these reforms are outside the responsibilities of the central bank, quote, yet they have a profound impact on the realization of the BSP's policy thrusts. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said electronic records of the Bureau of Immigration, or BI, showed that Jan Marsalek, former chief operating officer of the scandal-hit financial tech firm Wirecard, flew into the country last June 23 and left the next morning. He, however, said security closed-circuit television camera footage did not show Marsalek arriving in the country and that there's no record of any flight to China scheduled on the morning of June 24 from Cebu due to the COVID-19 lockdown. Guevara also earlier said, based on previous records, Marsalek arrived in the Philippines on March 3 and departed on March 5. The Department of Justice, upon consultation with Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno, directed the National Bureau of Investigation to investigate certain individuals who are reportedly involved in the Wirecard case in Germany, allegedly resulting in the loss of 1.9 billion euros. The NBI will coordinate with the Anti-Money Laundering Council in the initial phase of the investigation. Guevara, meanwhile, said the NBI has invited lawyer Mark Tolentino to shed light on his alleged involvement in the scandal. Reports said Tolentino, through his law firm, opened 6 bank accounts in Makati and Taguig City after he was approached by walk-in clients, including foreigners who said they would be setting up a financial tech company in the Philippines. The investors, who identified themselves as representatives of a Singaporean firm, allegedly asked Tolentino to be a trustee of the company. Wirecard saw its shares crash after its auditor said it could not trace 1.9 billion euros in cash, representing roughly a quarter of Wirecard's balance sheet. Marcus Braun, Wirecard's chief executive officer, had been arrested in Germany after being accused of inflating the company's balance sheet. The BSP earlier said none of the $2.1 billion missing funds from the German firm entered the Philippines' financial system. ASEAN in Focus will be right back.
Kung may masigit Pasasalitang salamat, yun ang dapat sa inyong humaharap at bumubuhat sa gitna ng kalamidad. Hindi kayo natinag, patuloy nagsilbi at umalalay, di umilag sa banta ng sakit, tapos di makauwi sa pamilya niyong mahal. Kayo'y nagbibigay ngiti, ang siyang dahilan kaya gumigising ka sa umaga. Litrato ng alaala ay nasa iyong pitaka, umalis at tumakan ng daladalay pag-asa na sa darating na panahon muling matatamasa ang nakasanayan mo kasama ang mga mahal sa buhay. Mayayakap na ulit sila, bubulong sa panalangin na kayo'y laging ingatan. Gabay at tulong niya ang laging iyong makahawakan. Sa laban na to lahat kami kasama niyo palagi. Para sa amin kayo ang mga makapagbayani. Para sa amin kapakanan, sa sakripisyo, ginugo ni Daga. Kayo ay mistulang aming mga karasal. Pagod at hirap, may aming ginhawa. Laging saludo sana sa harapan. Pasalubong ihanda na, nakalatag ng barikada. Pangunahing lunas at malasakit ay kanilang kargada. Init sa kalsada, gutom di alintana. Sa nangangailangan ay bukas pinto kahit bintana. Salopay naglipana, limitalin ng pana. Sinasalo ng magigiting sila ang halimbawa. Hindi kumukonforme, bawat kilos ay doble. Sa sibilyan maglilingkod ang naka-uniforme. Pinabaka ko ba namin lahat ng mga tagubili? Lagi niyong paalala, ang manatili lamang kami sa mintahanan. Mas nag-aalala pag malala na oras sa pamilya ay sakana. Tuparin mo ng panata, tawag pa rin ang tungkulin kahit ang sarili mananganang. Bigyan ng konting pahinga sa mga kababayan na uobligang mabalik ang sigla ng buhay at madugtungan pa ng hilinga. Sa gantong paraan man lang ay huwag sanang mabalisa. Bilang ganti po namin kami makikita. Kaisa salamat po. Sa sakripisyo, ginugo ni Daga. Kayo ay mistulang aming mga karasal. Pagod at hirap, di aming ginhawa. Laging saludo sana sa harapan.
Pa, ako, gusto ko po maging doktor para gumamot ng mga may sakit. Pero paano kapag yung gumagamot na mismo yung mamatay sa sakit pa? Ako gusto ko po maging sundalo para ipagtanggol ang sarili kong bayan. Pero paano mo ipagtatanggol ang isang bagay kung hindi mo naman nakikita yung kalaban? Hindi lang mga nasa ospital ang lumalaban, kundi pati mga pamilya nila na naghihintay na makabalik sila ng buhay sa tahanan. May lumalabang makatawid, makasama lang ang kanyang mga anak at kapatid. May lumalaban sa kalungkutan, silang mga wala nang magawa. Pero mas matindi naman siguro yung mga wala nang manguya sa gutom. May lumalaban, may lumalana. Salamat dahil hindi ka sumuko. Alalahanin mo na hindi ka lang basta lumalaban. Nagtatanim ka rin ngayon ng kwento ng katapangan na bukas pwedeng anihin ng kabataan.
Para sa amin kapakanan, inyong sakripisyo, ginugo ni Daga. Kayo ay mistulang aming mga karasal. Pagod at hirap, di aming ginhawa. Laging saludo sa sana sa harapan. Sakripisyo, ginugo ni Daga. Kayo ay mistulang aming mga karasal. Pagod at hirap, di aming ginhawa. Laging saludo sana sa harapan.
Vietnam's most critically ill COVID-19 patient, a British pilot, can now fly home next month. We have an update coming in from Ralph Wandolph Empire.
Vietnam's most critically ill COVID-19 patient who has been hospitalized for more than 3 months in Ho Chi Minh City could leave for Scotland next month. Stephen Cameron, the 43-year-old pilot who staged a remarkable recovery after being comatose for more than 2 months, could go home on a repatriation flight set to depart from Hanoi on July 12 if he is well enough, Deputy Minister of Health Nguyen Chuang Son said. Hopefully, the patient can walk in the next 10 days and will be strong enough to fly home, Son said yesterday. He also mentioned that when he leaves, a medical team will accompany him. Son said the UK Embassy has sent a document to the COVID-19 treatment subcommittee under the ministry, suggesting that Vietnamese experts and authorities assess whether patient 91 was healthy enough to return to his native Scotland on a long flight. The embassy's proposal is for the British pilot to be taken on the July 12 Vietnam Airlines flight that is set to fly from Hanoi to the UK for bringing back stranded Vietnamese citizens. The British Embassy has said the patient's insurance company will cover all the costs for him to leave Vietnam with the assistance of Vietnamese health specialists. Local reports have said that leading Vietnamese specialists will have to hold another national consultation to see if the British pilot who was to work for the national flag carrier Vietnam Airlines is healthy enough to be discharged from the hospital and endure a long flight back to the UK. The patient is currently in good health and can eat without any medical intervention. His limb muscle strength and respiratory functions have returned. He can breathe, sit up, and walk a few steps on his own with the aid of a supporting frame. This is Ralph Wandel Empire, bringing you the latest updates here in Vietnam. We live in interesting times.
Another Sumatran tiger has been found dead in the second suspected poisoning of the critically endangered cats in less than a week, according to Indonesian conservation officials. Authorities said in both cases, locals likely targeted the tigers for attacking their livestock, underscoring the increasing human-animal conflict in the Southeast Asian archipelago. On Monday, the conservation agency in South Aceh on Sumatra Island said it found the carcass of a tigress near a farm, and there weren't any hunter traps or physical wounds, and that they suspect it was poison, according to agency chief Hadi Sofyan, adding that an autopsy was being conducted. Last week, the buried carcass of a male tiger was uncovered in North Sumatra's Batangaris National Park, with poisoning also the suspected cause of death. Locals, including a village head, said the killing was orchestrated by farmers who were angry the tiger had killed their livestock, according to a park spokesman. Now, also Monday, a female tiger was relocated from a plantation in West Sumatra. Conflicts between humans and animals in Indonesia often happen in areas where rainforests are being cleared to make way for palm oil plantations. In the past year, Sumatra has also seen a spate of fatal tiger attacks on humans. Indonesia is battling rampant poaching, which accounts for almost all Sumatran tiger deaths, according to Traffic, a global wildlife trade monitoring network. Sumatran tigers are considered critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, with fewer than 400 believed to remain in the wild. Tiger parts are widely used in traditional medicine, particularly in China. Despite overwhelming scientific evidence, they have no beneficial value. And cat cafes have reopened across Bangkok, with the felines refusing to maintain the 1-meter social distance after a month locked inside away from humans. Take a look.
It's a good chance that the cafe just opened, so I decided to come right away. It's been lonely at home. You know, staying in the house for a full whole month is pretty stressful. But coming here, the day that I could come to this cafe is pretty much in the outer world, you know, the other feelings. You finally break the chain and come to the place that you wish to come.
The friendly fur balls give some much-needed outside contact for people who have mostly been confined to home during weeks of semi-lockdown. In compliance with the new normal and safety measures outside this cafe called Catterday, The cafe staff take the temperature of the customers before welcoming them back inside. The establishment is cleaned several times a day to comply with Thailand's strict measures for the gradual reopening of their economy. And as a precaution, the cats have dry baths. Their fur is also brushed and their eyes cleaned every day. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.